Welcome everybody to the first ever Oversky show match. My name is Atmas. With me is Aquablad. Hello, Aquablad.
Hello, everyone. I am super excited to see these cards in action. We've heard about them, we've seen them, and now it's time to see them played.
We have for you two players, two of our special testers here today to show off a couple decks. We have Yotsuba playing a green-red deck today versus Helios, who is going to be running sort of a Three Wishes variant. We're going to showcase a lot of new cards for you today. A lot of them you've seen, maybe some you haven't. For instance, Helios in his starting hand has a Skyak, which will summon more Skyaks as the game goes on for every friendly Skyax that is destroyed. So already on turn 2, he's able to play one of those. Meanwhile, up above, sorry to interrupt, Yotsuba has a Path to Paradise. So this is one of our new cards we've shown you today. It's a green-red card that you can play to generate another special land, which anything summoned on it gets extra attack.
Yeah, I think this Path to Paradise is incredibly powerful. We were talking about it before, that how Deepwood Stalker has great synergies with this card because it gets powered up when it comes onto the field, and it can take out bigger targets. Very similar, I guess, to what people try to do with Tiki Totem. Players would experiment with that card, but Path to Paradise a great addition to these Crackthorn lists.
That's a very good point. I think also we're going to see some synergy with things like Deepwood Stalker, potentially in Yotsuba's deck. I'm not sure if he runs those, but here is the Emerald Salamander. Now, this is the big new green-red card. It's basically, you play it and you can deal 2 damage to every adjacent enemy and give your friendly creatures a buff of +2/+2. So it's a combination of the red salamander and a new green type of salamander. So definitely a very strong card that has a lot of potential, a lot of positional strategy involved with a card like that. Meanwhile, Helios has drawn Ulani, which is a legendary in Oversky, the Oversky Shaman, and he plays it right away, which is going to draw him 1 card of every color in his deck, and of course multicolor cards will count for that, so 3 wishes included.
Wow, Ulani pulling 2 free wishes there. This card was a free wish card when I first saw it, but the fact it pulls 3 wishes as well is just perfect.
And another card in Helios's deck, he just keeps on going. I don't think we've even mentioned Yakapult, which is going to require 6 wild lands. Now, he's only at 4 right now. Remember, a wild land, you need 1 of any special land. So 2 more lands and you can summon a Yakapult. Whenever that range unit attacks, it'll summon a little baby yak. Well, actually an angry yak in an adjacent space where it hits. And the Curious Biomancer, which is a 2 lake requirement card and 2 wild. Brand new Oversky card we've shown you today. For each enemy creature, you draw a non-blue creature from your deck. So there's lots of non-blue creatures in Helios' deck to draw from. He's going to want to drop that when Yotsuba has a couple cards on the field. And it looks like that next turn may be the time to do it.
Yeah, this is one of the beauties of the support Free Wishes has been given in the Oversky. You're able to draw a lot of cards, you're able to accelerate your lands quicker, and Ulani, Curious Biomancer giving you that card draw, Path to Paradise giving you that land as well. And there's a Crystal Flower in the hand of Helios. This can swallow a threat that shows up, and then that structure needs to be answered. So if anything too big comes down for Helios to handle, he can temporarily remove it from the game until it's destroyed, and then get some breathing room and some time to prepare some extra defenses going against this green red Crackthorn.
Yeah, it's basically a way to spend 3 Faeria to stall your opponent. It's going to bring your opponent's creature onto your own land, so when it does break out of its prison, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You don't always want it to break out so close to you, but definitely the turns that it buys you can be super valuable, and it looks like he's gonna play it this turn, I think.
Yeah, I think it's probably worthwhile. Maybe Path to Paradise first, just to accelerate lands into the double collection on the left, just to maybe set up Ulani in case this little yak gets taken out. He is soaring across the ocean right now, but we know green-red, they have removal. He could just throw a flame burst at that, and that yak's gonna hit the ocean. So perhaps, oh no, actually just. Oh, he's going to go for the Path of Paradise. Okay, maybe a Curious Biomancer instead. Oh, the Yakapult. Very nice. Going to get that power up. And this becomes a very devastating card sitting in his double collection.
It's sitting in the double collect spot. It's stopping the Axe Grinder from moving forward because if it does, it's within Yakapult range. Um, does he have an answer for this? Well, he does have the Path to Paradise Deepwood Stalker combo. Now, we mentioned this earlier. You Path to Paradise, you create a forest, play that Deepwood Stalker. That's going to be a 4/4 creature that fights anything on boards. Unfortunately, it's one short of taking care of that Yakapult, but he could deal with Ulani. I mean, he could deal with Ulani and Skyak without even doing that combo, so he may want to hang on to that.
It's really devastating for Yotsuba right now because this Yakapult's actually covering two vital spaces for Yotsuba. He's covering the land near his orb as well, so he can't summon anything there, and of course he's covering that aggressive spot in the bottom right hand corner. So I think this Yakapult's going to be a priority for Yotsuba to deal with, but as it stands, not really an effective way to do it right now.
Yeah, he has the range, but he's just short on power to deal with the Yakapult. It's a very strong unit for only 3 Faeria. Of course, it requires 6 wild lands. If you get a Yakapult in an uncontested position, you can really secure the board in the right spot. I think this is a great spot for the Yakapult in this position. And obviously, it's causing Yotsuba some problems. He's trying to figure out how to deal with it. This turn, he may just have to wait and start ramping up his land. Oh, yeah, look. He's just trying to move close to the Yakapult, trying to do something. Path to Paradise right in his face, perhaps?
Yeah, this is... Oh, I thought he was going to go for the aggressive. It looks like he's going to go for the more defensive play. And it's going to start chipping away at that Yakapult, respecting its power. Because one thing Yakapult does do, not only is it a ranged creature that's going to take out threats from afar, it generates additional cards for you, additional creatures to start defending or applying pressure. So just a fantastic card overall. It can be applied in many ways thanks to its range and thanks to its ability.
I think what he's hoping to do is hope that Helios doesn't make a land next to his Yakapult so he can drop an Emerald Salamander and just destroy it that way. But I think Helios might be too wise for that, and it looks like he's going to create a land right now that's going to stop that, or at least move the Skyak in the way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good little block there. Basically, well, to be fair, I think what Yotsuba had to invest into this Yakapult is already rewarded Helios, simply because he had to suboptimally deal damage, lose a creature, and now he's just banking on more removal. And this Yak is going to block that land placement, so it's very good play from Helios, and just goes to show how powerful this card really is. But there is a Ground Shaker, so all I just said out of the window.
Big Daddy Ground Shaker's here, and he's going to clear up this Yakapult, clear up that Deepwood Stalker, and put Yotsuba back into a spot where we can actually start attacking the face, and that's exactly what it's going to do. Ground Shaker goes in the front. Axe Grinder, I guess, will sit in possibly the double harvest position. No, staying in the aggressive line, and another Yakapult drawn on Helios. Now lost all that advantage he had with that 4/1 Yakapult on board. And we never got to see it fire. That's the sad thing. We never got to see a Yak pop out.
Well, there is another Yakapult, and I feel like this could be set up in a very good position on the forest in between the wells, just covering that angle that Yotsuba wants to apply pressure. So I feel that could be quite a good play this turn. But he also has access to 3 wishes.
3 wishes is going to be critical. The cards he draws from it are going to really influence this game, this turn. He's able to play his first one if he wants. He won't get the maximum healing effect from it. It'll cost him 3 Faeria, but it certainly is a nice play to do. Looks like he's able to make a forward land from it as well.
I quite like Yakapult on the top lake, and then to cover the same spot the other Yakapult was covering. Oh my goodness, that's a great draw.
Oh, Ground Shaker and Emerald Salamander and Axe Grinder. Unfortunately, he didn't make that mountain on the spot for the Axe Grinder to be summoned, but that, I don't think it's going to matter that much.
Yeah, an aggressive Ground Shaker could be devastating at this point. I was going to say, I quite like Yakapult on the lake, and then Crystal the Ground Shaker, and cover the Axe Grinder again, much like the other Yakapult we saw. But it looks like a very similar line is coming into play, going to take care of that Ground Shaker with the Swallow ability, and then just apply pressure with that Axe Grinder.
And there is the second Crystal Flower. Now, this other Ground Shaker from Yotsuba, we knew that was coming because of 3 wishes. He's going to be able to destroy Ulani, take care of that Skyak, and do a little bit of chip damage on that crystal flower. Just chip it away a little bit. Ground shaker number 2. Now, don't forget, inside that crystal flower, there is another ground shaker trapped inside there, and there is a clock on that. It's going to tick down every turn until it breaks free, unless you can accelerate that as well with all kinds of damage. So Yotsuba, 9 damage to face, and a little bit of tempo hidden within that flower.
I think it's important to note as well, Helios's placement of that flower is very clever, because it's out of reach of Yotsuba's threats, but it's not in between the wells. So it doesn't set up the ground shaker into a double collection spot. When it gets released from that prison, it's making sure it can only collect one Faeria. So very smart positioning there from Helios with that flower already.
Yeah, now he's debating, Helios, he's debating whether or not perhaps this turn to use his salamander to do some damage to these units that are grouped up near his orb. The salamander can deal 2 damage across to both. And maybe if he plays something else, well, no, he wouldn't be able to buff something else, but he could certainly start whittling away on these units. It could even Path to Paradise, although you'd only be able to hit 1 unit with that. So I'm not sure what the best move is this turn, but I feel like just putting a salamander down next to face, it's only 1 cost, will help you start winning this race. He's going to do 4 damage to the face this turn, and you could even play something like an aggressive ground shaker the same turn.
Yeah, I think this is really good play, because not only do you put a blocker down or just another creature to challenge the ground shaker, you take care of that axe grinder, stopping the collection from Yotsuba on the right bottom well, and then you're applying that pressure as well. Now, I think there was an opportunity there for Helios to apply damage. Just push 4 damage. You didn't need that additional Faeria.
Yeah, he definitely stepped back, got the fairy with the axe grinder. He could have pushed 4 damage. He chose not to. He did use the salamander to clear the other axe grinder, but Yotsuba in turn clears it off. Harvest as well. He's up to 8 Faeria. He's got lots of nice cards in hand, including an axe grinder that unfortunately he can't play in a great spot. This Emerald Salamander, though, can be played right now in between the axe grinder and the Crystal Flower, and unfortunately, the Crystal Flower will not take damage from the Salamander, but it'll clear the axe grinder, and then he'll have a 5/6 to deal with. So, does he buff with the Elderwood's Embrace? Does he play the axe grinder elsewhere to harvest? Lots of things to think about right now.
I think there's also a line of taking a mountain on the left-hand side of the central neutral tile next to Figoro, playing the axe grinder in that spot so it can hit the Crystal Flower next turn, and then Elderwood Embracing the Ground Shaker to protect it from removal. And that sets up, allowing Ground Shaker to be released, maybe deal with some of these problems. But I think Yotsuba feels that there's too much pressure being applied right now and is willing to take that removal on the Ground Shaker, the Axe Grinder, even though the Ground Shaker can clear the Salamander quite easily.
And that is astonishing. I'm actually surprised, he didn't play that Elderwood's Embrace, because, he could have popped that Crystal Flower up. Oh, look, he's making fun of him. Foolish. Making fun of himself. I'm not sure. Another Salamander from that 3 wishes. Moving the Ground Shaker back. Clearing the Salamander, I imagine. Now this Crystal Flower has 2 turns to go before the other Ground Shaker pops out.
Man, this is
5 damage is threatening Helios's face. Yeah.
This is really rough for Yotsuba, because I feel like Yotsuba didn't apply enough. He tried to apply pressure, but he didn't apply enough, and it's given the Free Wish player enough time to generate a wealth of resources. Look at Helios's hand, look at Yotsuba's hand. The board's pretty even, but the hand advantage is definitely playing in Helios's favor right now, and that is the power of Free Wishes.
Buffing up his Ground Shaker even further. 7/8 now next to face. 3 wishes is so strong. And Oversky, this green-red deck, is strong as well, but it's not able at this time to outpace it. So he draws his 3rd Salamander. I think this is his 3rd one, if I'm counting. But unfortunately, he doesn't have a great line for it. He only has 1 creature on the field. The enemy isn't grouped up. He's going to need to certainly wait for his Ground Shaker to pop out of that Crystal Flower, and then he can start making some better plays.
Yep, that Crystal has 1 more tick on it before the Ground Shaker is released. Helios Kind of has a wealth of options here. Can get more cards with the Curious Biomancer, which it looks like is going to be the way to start off this turn. He also has access to Earthcraft, a 0-cost Path to Paradise as well to further empower other creatures. Might even be worth starting with that Path to Paradise that costs 0 first, because it's going to power up your creatures anyway. So if you decide to play anything else, it's a good way to just bump them up.
Yeah, also clears a card from your hand, and if you're going to be drawing more, you definitely don't want to burn too many. Yakapult, I'd love to see a boosted Yakapult in range of the opponent's face. I mean, that's all the threat you need, just a single seed there. Seed of Paradise for Helios of Flame. In the late game, not going to be so great for him, but probably just going to hang on to that. He's able to create a land of any choosing if he harvests over the ocean, but if you look at the board, there's only one tile right now coming to effect, and that's on the right side. So I think I just really want to see a Path to Paradise on a Yakapult.
Yeah, I like that. Just set up another strong body. Very, green-red Crackthorn, as we know, traditionally has trouble dealing with high life creatures. And with the Sunken Tower as well, you can manipulate what the Yakapult can hit. And look at this, moving the prison out of the way, knowing that it's going to crack open soon. And maybe protecting the Biomancer, knowing that maybe Yotsuba doesn't have the resources to develop additional land, especially when he's so far behind in a card advantage.
Now, this second Elderwood Embrace that he drew is going to be really critical. Now he's able to clear that Ground Shaker off the board. If he spends everything here, he's going to Path to Paradise and Salamander instead, perhaps. That'll do it too. And that'll be a 4/5 Salamander. Ground Shaker will be cleared, Axe Grinder gets buffed and survives, and he keeps the Elderwood Embrace. Suddenly, look at this board now. Next turn, Crystal Flower pops open, and there's a Ground Shaker in the face.
And there it is, cracking from its prison, a 5/6, very close to Helios. He does have that Sunken Tower ready to move it around the book. Could he just even move it into the center of the map now, just let the ocean protect him? But, those crystals, those prisons that swallow the creatures do seem very powerful in the early game, but they do eventually crack open, and then you have to deal with that problem that you just swallowed away for 5 turns. They do come back, so keep that in mind when playing these swallow cards.
Yeah, it's like taking out a bank loan. It feels great at first, and you have all this this free board space to play with, but eventually you do have to pay the bank back. And in this case, it's dealing with a Ground Shaker. You can out of sight, out of mind for a while, but the reality is you have a Ground Shaker debt to pay, and Yotsuba is going to make sure that happens.
And it looks like the Path to Paradise coming down, going to power up, and then draw 3 cards. Very nice there, but Helios, is getting close to decking out here.
And oh my gosh, you're right, he is. He's down to 9 cards, but he drew an Azure Sky Whale, which is one of the most powerful cards in the Oversky. It's going to swallow something. I think he's certainly going to play it. I imagine possibly the Ground Shaker that just popped out. Man, this Ground Shaker was so close to having a great life, and it's back in the belly of the beast into a 6/12 Sky Whale, which takes 8 wild lands to play. This is not easy to get out, but he has, and now it's swallowed the Ground Shaker. So for a moment, he was almost able to use that creature, but nope.
Ground Shaker doing time. He's just got out, but now he's back in. He's caused too much trouble for Helios and send him back to prison. But this time, a giant flying whale. Now, we do know that Crackthorn struggles with these high life creatures. Can Yotsuba find a way to bust open this whale, get his Ground Shaker back, and hopefully then Ground Shaker can, do some work on board. Right now, he's just getting eaten.
What crimes did this Ground Shaker commit? What could he have possibly done to deserve such a long sentence? We may never know.
He killed the Yakapult. No one wants to see a dead Yakapult.
Yeah, okay. I don't feel bad for him any longer. You're right. Yep. I think I'm okay with him being in the whale. There is a Horsemaster coming out, which is going to allow the Salamander to pop down, clear this Biomancer. Now the Sky Whale, of course, is going to have free reign for quite some time. But man, if he could get that Ground Shaker to hit it, that would be great. There's a Rakoan Reveler in hand for Yotsuba, and I don't think we've seen that yet this game. This is one of the new cards from the Oversky. It's going to gain Faeria back equal to its attack, so it synergizes so well with cards like, Emerald Salamander, Elderwood Embrace, all these buff cards that this green-red deck is going to run. Unfortunately, Deepwood Stalker clears off that 8 attack Axe Grinder, which was really important to have if you wanted to pop that Ground Shaker back out. So going to have 12 health to deal with here, down to 8 after that to get that Ground Shaker back out.
A little unfortunate here for Yotsuba, getting overwhelmed by the whale, but also the board presence Helios has established. Now another Sunken Tower as well. Going to be able to move up as well, take the Faeria and clear the Horsemaster. These Sunken Towers in Free Wishes, we know that's a card we haven't seen in Free Wishes before. This is fantastic.
The second Yakapult is back. It's ready to attack. Unlike the other one, man, Yotsuba just needs a creature on the board. All he has right now is the Rakon Reveler. Now, there is some nice synergy going on here. If he were to drop the Reveler with the Embrace, he's going to get a little bit of Faeria back afterwards, assuming it would be destroyed later on. It looks like that is what he's going to do. Not a bad play. 3/6. It's going to certainly clear the Emerald Salamander, but oh no, it's another Swallow. The Crystal Flower again. That means that Yotsuba might not have anything left on board after this turn. Azure Skywill is going to hit the face for 6 damage. Put Yotsuba on a 2-turn clock. May the best frog win. I think I may know who the best frog is here today.
Yeah, Fugoro, the hero of our story, taking care of business here.
Yakapult.
Let's see it.
There it is. Oh, yep. Skywill moves. Yakapult hits. There's the Yak. Look at it bouncing around right next to the face. Skywill hits for 6. The Yak might actually have lethal damage next turn. He could use the Yak to get lethal, unless Yotsuba is able to draw some kind of super salamander. What a game we've had. Now, these decks are very much show decks. We put this together to showcase a lot of these Oversky cards. You may come up with better ideas as time goes on to build the perfect Oversky deck. But I think today we're going to see here that Helios's 3 Wishes was just too strong for Yotsuba's green-red. Exceeded my expectations, certainly. And brilliant. Oh, the Yak did not get lethal damage, unfortunately. And there it is. We hope you enjoyed that, watching that. I think it was a great game. We without further ado, we need to get back to the rest of the tournament. Keep in mind, this coming Tuesday will be the first Islands of the Oversky released, and we'll start to see some of these cards available in your library. Thanks a lot for watching.
Discover the Adventure Pouch Oversky, featuring a first-of-its-kind co-op campaign. Team up with either friends or powerful Faeria characters and discover a ton of new content, including more than 30 new cards. Join now to experience the Emperor's daily challenges and reap exclusive rewards. Explore the Oversky and reap the rewards today.